a fair warning, the next story is actually really amazing. In June and July, a Russian submarine actually got into U.S. territory in the Gulf of Mexico on a training mission. It was an Aquila-class warship that had long-range ballistic missiles. A Russian sub with long-range ballistic missiles got really close to the U.S. coastline. Now, the interesting thing about this is that U.S. satellites' hydroacoustic sensors completely missed it. In fact, they were only detected once they were actually on their way out. It only caught like the tail end of the submarine as it was leaving. In other words, it was there the whole time and it went completely undetected. And they did this without breaking international law, which is why there's no massive outrage about it. And it stayed near the U.S. coastline, apparently, for about 1 month without being detected. That's actually pretty shocking that a Russian sub can get that close to the U.S. coastline and stay there for an entire month without being detected. That's pretty mind-blowing, to be perfectly honest. Now, there has no comment has been issued by the U.S. government or by the U.S. Navy as of yet, but as you can imagine, they're probably really concerned and thinking about best how to handle this situation. Now, Vladimir Yevseyev, the head for the Center of Social and Political Studies, did have some comments on it. This is a good lesson for the U.S., demonstrating that it should not pursue its foreign policy interests all over the world using force. Other states have also have some military potential. If the U.S. pursues the national interests only by means of force, a boomerang effect will take place. The U.S. should realize that it is also vulnerable because the anti-missile system is not efficient enough when it comes to cruise missiles that can fly at low altitudes. Nuclear submarines can carry cruise missiles that cannot be detected using conventional means designed for repelling ballistic missile attacks. Cruise missiles create a breach in the anti-missile defense. They show that an ideal anti-missile system does not exist. This destroys the image of U.S. invincibility, which backs its policy of all permissiveness on the global arena. Oh, this is actually a very important lesson to learn, that the U.S. is not, at least militarily, is not all-powerful, and that it can be defeated in some ways, and it does have its own weaknesses. Now, I think it's very interesting that this happened right after Romney already criticized Obama for, supposedly defunding the Navy and made that complaint during one of the debates. I think it's very possible in this situation that the information pertaining to this breach of security was let out on purpose, because it's not the first time, it would not be the first time that some kind of event like this got leaked to the public for specific political purposes. After all, if the case was just made in favor of Obama that it was not going to increase military spending in this area, wouldn't it be great if they had an excuse to now completely go back on it now that this incident has happened? It's very likely that this will be used as a justification for Obama spending more money on the military, while he did not overtly claim that he was not going to spend more money on the military. It was kind of rather implied by a lot of the stuff that he said, and he also did say that that spending was not necessary in the footage that you just saw. This would be a great way to go back on that and say, well, things have changed, so we do need to start spending that money now. But I think a good important point to make here is that while the Russian sub was in U.S. territorial waters, it probably got a pretty good look at the submarine routes the U.S. uses and that the Navy ships also use as well. This is actually, if you're not a U.S. patriot, this is actually a really funny story, and it's pretty awesome too, because it does put a huge dent in the story about U.S. hegemonic military power.